The rules are changing for trading in real estate within the province of Ontario. Starting December 1st, consumers and professionals will need to operate under a new set of legislation called the Trust in Real Estate Services Act. This is part 2 of our TRESA video series. In this episode, we'll look specifically at the new form of representation known as designated representation. Let's dive in. Under the new TRESA, there are now 2 forms of representation: brokerage representation or designated representation. Which form of representation an agent uses is decided by their brokerage. Under a brokerage representation, the brokerage and all of its agents are bound by the same duties to the client. That means that every agent under the brokerage is viewed as having the same level of relationship with the client, and along with that, would have the same fiduciary duty. By contrast, under a designated representation, the designated representative identified for each agreement is responsible for representing the interests of the client. Any other agents in the same brokerage must treat the client in an objective and impartial manner. The decision by a brokerage to choose either the brokerage representation or designated representative will impact buyers and sellers when it comes to those occasional situations where there might be a multiple representation situation. Under brokerage representation, multiple representation can arise in the following 2 circumstances. The brokerage has a seller client and 1 or more buyer clients in the same trade. The brokerage represents more than 1 competing buyer in the same trade, even if the property is listed by a different brokerage. Under designated representation, multiple representation only arises in the following 2 circumstances. The same agent is the designated representative for a seller client and a buyer client in the same trade. The same agent is designated representative for more than 1 competing buyer in the same trade, even if the property is listed by a different brokerage. We believe that the new form of designated representation will help both buyers and sellers because it will greatly reduce the amount of times that parties find themselves in a multiple representation situation. Different agents within the same brokerage can provide dedicated and individualized representation to both sides of a transaction without any conflict of interest. Our Life Real Estate Group is perfectly structured to deliver this kind of individualized representation. We'd love to discuss further with how this can benefit you in your next transaction. Give us a call and learn more. Thanks for watching. I'm Jessica, your real estate professional for life.